Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to Iceberg G85 for his generous donation and support of my previous video. And I want to give a special thank you to all of you that continue to support me anonymously. And if you'd like to support the channel, PayPal and Cash App are available. And when you donate, let me know in the For section if it's okay for me to publicly thank you, or else I'll assume you want to remain private.
And here we go.
Layman's Journal Chapter 202. Actor comedian Dave Chappelle is in a bit of hot water over comments he allegedly made at a comedy show in Boston. Now I say allegedly because the reporter covering the story was not in attendance, and because there's yet to be any video or audio evidence confirming what was said, given the fact that Dave Chappelle prohibits people from using cell phones during his stand-up events. All of this is based on secondhand evidence curated by Wall Street Journal reporter Sabrina Sadiq that she apparently gathered on Twitter and from interviews of people that claimed to be in attendance when this transpired. And a spokesman for Chappelle denies that he was even there, even though the event is listed on his tour schedule. But I've got some thoughts on the issue, so let's get it. So here's what allegedly happened. It all started with Chappelle saying the Harvard students that expressed support for Palestine should not have been doxxed and should not be denied any future job offers. A heckler in the audience then responded by telling Dave to shut up, which caused Chappelle to unload on the heckler. Now, to his credit, Chappelle did condemn the October 7th attacks by Hamas, leading to the demise of 1,000 Israeli citizens, including children. But he also accused the Israeli government of committing war crimes against the Palestinian people, and the US government for aiding in said war crimes. Now, audience reaction was mixed. Most cheered on in support while some walked out. Again, these are all secondhand accounts. Now, I don't have a public opinion regarding that conflict because it's a hot button issue and I'm focused on other things. I care more about the media and how men are portrayed in said media. I'm not into international politics. However, I am a huge fan of Dave Chappelle, as he is one of the prominent black men featured in my intro, and for that reason I thought I should chime in on the controversy. Now, I learned about this whole thing because I know a lot of pro-Israel conservatives that were discussing it on social media, and they were all saying they were done with Chappelle, that he sabotaged his career, that they'll be boycotting him. And my response to that is, Dave Chappelle can't be canceled because he's already canceled. He canceled himself 20 years ago when he walked away from the Comedy Central contract. He doesn't owe anyone anything. He's not an employee of any particular network, doesn't really have any employees himself, and works whenever he wants to. He tours and sells his performances to Netflix. So he's rich, has no debts or financial obligations beyond the people he's already contracted out, and that pay is based on whenever he agrees to work. And he lives modestly. He lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. In short, he's got a whole bunch of funk you money that he doesn't spend. So there's nothing anyone can take from him. So canceling him won't work because in order to cancel someone, he has to have something worth canceling. He has to have something he doesn't own. Something he depends on that's not his, like a job or future income. And Chappelle has neither. Now, he may lose some future deals with Netflix, some venues may cancel his appearances, and he might lose some fans. But again, none of this is on camera. There is no audio, there is no first-hand account, no smoking gun, and he denies even being there. But even if he does, he's already set for life. Neither he nor his family have to ever work again. And that's what I need conservatives to understand. Like Coach Deion Sanders, a lot of you all are hating on him too, but he's still signing big recruits, he's still selling out major venues, he still brings in large TV ratings, and he's generating a lot of money for the university in spite of your contempt for him. So what if you believe what is said about him? You don't matter. You have no impact on the culture. You're not the demographic whose opinion matters on this issue. And I know that because I am a conservative, but unlike most, I keep my finger on the pulse of the culture, and I know what people care about and who they're listening to. As for me, I'll continue to support him because, as I've stated in an earlier video, I have a lot of varying social political views, and I still admire Chappelle, even though I may not necessarily agree with everything he says, which is impossible because there's no one I agree with 100% of the time. So he's still good in my book, and I don't have an opinion on this issue. And now that I've gotten that out of the way, I have a quick announcement. At the conclusion of my long style videos, the ones where I do in-depth breakdowns and character studies, I'm going to work towards changing the format. I want to start opening up the floor so you guys can come up and join me for a live discussion. The only thing is, I don't know which movie I should discuss next. Now, all of you have been giving me some great suggestions and I'm currently working on something now. But if you have any others, please leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm interested in seeing what you have to say, and I'll take those suggestions into consideration. But I'm going to close things right here. Please be sure to follow me on my other social media platforms. And if you like this video, please share the link on your social media pages. I cannot stress enough how that is a huge help in growing the channel. But most importantly, check out the other videos in my library, as I'm sure there's something there you'll enjoy. Here's a preview of my latest work. Thou shalt not judge a woman. That's the first commandment young men are taught in this post-misandrist society. And that's about indoctrinating young men to believe that women, even when they act poorly, are not to be judged by men, that they are beyond reproach. The second commandment is, women you shall serve. That our purpose as men is to cater to a woman, to pander to a woman, to live life in service of a woman. And if we like a woman, we have to, quote, treat her right. And by that, they don't mean love, leadership, protection, and provision. They mean slavery and obedience. Treat her as if she's your mother, your queen, and your goddess. Anything but your wife, girlfriend, or spouse. And if you do that, she'll honor your obedience. She'll reciprocate. She'll grant you the privilege of being her serf. In short, we were taught that gifts, favors, and humiliation are key to getting a woman to love us. Because commandment number 4 is, women honor sacrifice. That they are beings of a higher moral integrity than men, meaning they aren't capable of selfishness, manipulation, or cruelty, acting in their self-interest or exploiting kindness. In short, a man can buy or bribe affection from a woman. You can convince a woman to love you, it's just a matter of doing all the right things and never judging her actions. And this philosophy is taught everywhere. It's propagated in our homes, schools, and churches, especially in the Black community where single motherhood is at an all-time high, where women are in positions of authority and masculine men are not included. But the place where it's most prominent is in entertainment media. And if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know the theme that I often recite here. Entertainment media is more than entertainment, it's propaganda through art. The stories may be fake, but the messages behind the stories are always real. For good or bad, better or worse, the goal is to influence your mind, to change your way of thinking, to affect culture. And the way Hollywood promotes cultural misandry and servitude is by reverse engineering common sense. Everything we learned in Matthew 7, verses 15 through 20, which basically says you can identify a person's character by their fruit, that is, by the way they act. In short, a person's character is reflected in their behavior. So a person who exudes poor behavior has bad character, and a person who exudes good behavior has good character. But Hollywood, when it comes to women, reverses that entire process. They want you to believe that a woman who exudes poor behavior still has good character, that her actions are not a reflection of who she is. Now, I talk about that more in my breakdown of The Best Man and Forrest Gump. In those movies, you have two women, Jenny and Mia, who do terrible things to the men that love them, but are still portrayed as good women and ideal wives. Please check that video out in its entirety. It's some of my best work. But no movie does that more than Pretty Woman. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching it. It's the story of a businessman named Edward, who's a millionaire that somehow falls in love with a street-walking lady of the evening named Vivian, and how he, shortly after meeting her, trusts her implicitly, showers her with gifts, and she never takes advantage of his kindness. She never tries to hurt or hustle him, and we all know that isn't true. That's not how those lovely ladies of the streets tend to act, because we've all heard stories about those types of women robbing, and setting up men. Cardi B is an example of this. She admitted in her earlier days that she did that very thing. Jennifer Lopez made a movie about it, which was based on true events. But somehow Vivian in Pretty Woman is the most honest street crawler that ever lived. Yes, she sells her body every night, several times a night, for $100 a customer. But somehow, according to the movie, she's A1 wife material. No disease, addiction, criminal record, or shady tendencies. She's the most honest walker that ever lived.
That doesn't make sense.
And by the end of the movie, Vivian magically falls in love with Edward, and only Edward. She won't have anyone else but him. And he's able to convince her to walk away from her street life and live happily ever after with him.
That's
Use your common sense.
Remember how I was saying earlier that men are culturally conditioned to believe they can bribe a woman for affection? That if we just do all the right things, we can have any woman we want? Because a woman is incapable of taking advantage of a man? Because they're beings of a higher moral integrity? So they will honor our sacrifices, our efforts, and love us unconditionally in exchange? That's what Pretty Woman promotes. That's what Pretty Woman wants young men to believe. I say young men because this movie, in spite of its subject matter, is not R-rated, and I remember watching it as a kid. And although it's exaggerated, it promotes the idea that love can be found anywhere, that you shouldn't judge a woman by what she does, that her actions don't reflect her character because on the inside she may very well still be a good person, even if she's selling kitty on the streets.
What?
And none of that is true. That's not the reality of the world we live in. You can't bribe a woman into loving you, and you can't change who she is. And no movie illustrates that better than Casino. It's a movie that tells a story in stark contrast to Pretty Woman. Similar to Pretty Woman, it's the story of a high-value man who tries to win the heart of a street-hustling woman. But the results are not the same. It's not the Disney fairy tale that Pretty Woman promotes. That's all I have to say about it. What do you have to say about it? Leave a comment in the comment section and let's have a conversation. Okay, so you've heard me say this a million times. So if you like this video, please give it a like and leave a comment in the comments section and share the link on your social media platforms. And if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you'll get alerts every time I upload new content. This is the Layman's Journal. Thanks for stopping by. I'm out.
Hell! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And while I do appreciate you sharing, subbing, and leaving comments, I'm going to ask that you take another step further in keeping the channel going. I set up a membership plan for those of you who would like to offer further support in the development of this channel. It's not anything expensive or special. I'm just asking for 99 cents a month, which is enough for me to continue doing the work that I do here.
Help me! Help me! Help me!
In the future, there will be additional tiers with added benefits, but for right now, I just need your support so that I can cover basic costs. So please, sign up so I can continue bringing you awesome content. This is the Layman's Journal. I'm out.